What happens when the celebrities who once encouraged people to feel at peace with their bodies later appear noticeably different themselves? For many viewers, especially those who have followed these women for years, the reaction is not simply surprise. It is reflection. It invites bigger questions about honesty, health, public pressure, and the complicated standards of Hollywood. These stories are not only about appearance. They are also about trust, messaging, and the quiet gap between what public figures say and what they leave unsaid. Kelly Clarkson may be one of the clearest examples of why this conversation feels so personal to audiences. Since winning the first season of American Idol in 2002, she has never seemed distant or carefully manufactured. People have long responded to her as a singer with extraordinary talent, but also as a woman who feels warm, funny, and emotionally genuine. That matters here. Kelly was never only admired for her voice. She also came to represent a kind of honesty that viewers trusted. For years, public attention often drifted toward her body, and Kelly usually handled that attention with humor and candor. She did not present herself as flawless, and that made many people feel even more connected to her. Then, over time, viewers of The Kelly Clarkson Show began noticing a gradual shift in her appearance. It did not happen all at once. Season by season, she looked different, and naturally people became curious. For quite a while, she chose not to explain much, which only made the quiet transformation more noticeable. Eventually, Kelly addressed it and said she had been taking a prescribed medication to help her body process sugar more effectively, describing it as part of a longer-standing health concern. What struck many viewers was not simply that she changed, but that the change unfolded in plain sight before a very loyal audience. In Kelly's case, the public response was often less about criticism and more about reflection. People were reminded that even the most familiar public figures live through private health journeys, and those journeys do not always come with immediate explanations, public language, easy conclusions, or neat answers for many concerned viewers at home today. If Kelly Clarkson's story felt quiet and gradual, Rebel Wilson's felt layered because it exposed the entertainment industry more directly. For many years, Rebel was closely associated with comedic roles that turned her body into part of the brand. Her performance as Fat Amy in the Pitch Perfect films made her famous around the world, and audiences appreciated her confidence, comic timing, and strong screen presence. But later, Rebel shared something that changed how many people viewed her career. She explained that there had been pressure in Hollywood, sometimes subtle and sometimes more obvious, to maintain that familiar image. That detail matters because it reveals a deeper contradiction. The same industry that often speaks about acceptance can still profit from keeping someone in a very specific lane. When Rebel later began what she called her year of health, many people saw only the outward transformation. At first, she described the process in terms of improved habits, exercise, and greater attention to overall well-being. Over time, she also acknowledged that weight loss medication had played a role in her journey. That fuller explanation gave the public a more complete picture. What makes Rebel's story so compelling is not simply that she changed. It is that her change highlighted how public image can be shaped by forces far beyond personal preference. For some viewers, her transformation looked empowering. For others, it raised questions about what Hollywood rewards and when it rewards it. In the end, Rebel's story reminds us that these conversations are rarely just about appearance. They are also about branding, expectations, and the uncomfortable truth that an industry may celebrate one image today after benefiting from the opposite image for years. That tension between private choice and public symbolism also helps explain why Meghan Trainor's story drew so much attention. From the beginning, Meghan's name was closely tied to body confidence because of the enormous success of All About That Bass. The song became more than a catchy hit. For many listeners, it sounded like reassurance. It suggested that self-worth should not be measured by a dress size and that confidence could exist outside the narrow ideals often promoted in popular culture. For teenagers, parents, and listeners alike, that message felt comforting. As Meghan's career grew, that message stayed attached to her public image. She often spoke about confidence, self-acceptance, and feeling good in your own skin. Then, years later, people began noticing a visible change in her appearance. Online discussion followed quickly, not only because she looked different, but because so many people still connected her to the message of that early song. Meghan later explained on her podcast that she and her husband had used a doctor-guided weight loss medication after dealing with health concerns, and she said she felt healthier and stronger. For many fans, that explanation was understandable. Health is personal, and no one remains frozen in one chapter of life forever. Still, her story stirred mixed emotions because All About That Bass had once felt like a personal anthem for people trying to make peace with themselves. That is why her transformation carried more emotional weight than a typical celebrity update. Meghan's story shows how a message can outgrow the moment it came from, and how audiences often hold on to that message long after the person who delivered it has moved into a new stage of life. If Meghan Trainor's story reflects the power of a single message, Ashley Graham's story reflects the power of a lasting public role. For years, Ashley was not simply a successful model. She became one of the most recognizable faces connected to broader beauty standards and body confidence. When she appeared on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue as its first plus-size cover model, many people saw it as a turning point. She spoke openly about embracing features the fashion world had often taught women to hide, and that helped many viewers feel seen in a new way. Because Ashley carried that meaning, noticeable changes in her appearance sparked immediate discussion. When she later appeared looking slimmer, many people responded not with one simple emotion, but with a mix of surprise, curiosity, and reflection. Ashley described the shift as the result of healthier routines, improved habits, and changes in her lifestyle. Even so, some longtime followers found themselves wrestling with bigger questions. They were not only reacting to her body, they were reacting to what she had represented for years. That is what makes Ashley's story important in this conversation. When a public figure becomes a symbol, personal choices are often received as cultural statements, whether that is fair or not. Ashley never stopped being a professional, and she never lost the right to make her own decisions. Yet the response to her transformation shows how strongly audiences connect a messenger to the message itself. Her story reminds us that visibility creates influence, and influence creates expectations. Once that happens, even personal changes can feel meaningful to people who believed they saw their lives reflected in someone else's presence. By the time Amy Schumer entered this conversation, the issue had already become larger than appearance alone. Amy's public identity had long been built on honesty, humor, and a willingness to challenge polished Hollywood standards. She often spoke in a way that felt blunt, self-aware, and unfiltered, and that quality made people trust her. She did not seem interested in pretending to be perfect. In many ways, that refusal became central to her appeal. That is why people paid close attention when she later spoke about trying weight loss medication. Amy did not describe the experience as simple or successful. Instead, she said it left her feeling unwell and unable to function normally in daily life. She also made it clear that the experience affected her ability to be fully present at home. Even though her online post was later removed, the core of what she shared remained part of the conversation. It stood out because it was not polished, promotional, or vague. It sounded difficult, personal, and real. Amy's story matters because it complicates easy judgments. It is tempting to divide public figures into neat categories: authentic or contradictory, empowering or disappointing. But life rarely works that way. Even people who openly challenge beauty pressure can still feel it. Even people who resist Hollywood standards can still be touched by them. That does not automatically erase their earlier message. Instead, it reveals how persistent those pressures can be, especially for women in the public eye. Amy's experience brings something valuable to this discussion, a reminder that transparency can matter more than image, because honesty gives audiences a fuller, more human way to understand what a person is actually going through. If Amy Schumer's story highlights honesty under pressure, Chrissy Metz's story shows how openness can soften public reaction. Through her role as Kate on This Is Us, Chrissy gave viewers a human portrayal of a woman navigating family struggles, relationships, self-worth, and hope. For many people, especially those who rarely saw similar bodies treated with tenderness on mainstream television, that representation mattered. Chrissy was not simply visible. She felt emotionally recognizable, and that gave her public image depth. Off-screen, she reinforced that connection by speaking openly about the balance between self-acceptance and improving one's health. She did not frame those ideas as enemies. Instead, she spoke about them as two truths that could exist together. That perspective resonated because it felt compassionate rather than performative. Then, when she later appeared noticeably different, and reports circulated that she had lost a significant amount of weight, the response was shaped by the honesty people had come to expect from her. Rather than avoiding the issue, Chrissy addressed the change directly and described it as part of a personal health journey. Just as importantly, she did not distance herself from the values of self-respect and body positivity that had made her meaningful to so many viewers. That balance mattered. She was not pretending nothing had changed, and she was not speaking as though acceptance had suddenly become irrelevant. In a culture where celebrity messaging is often managed, her approach felt grounded and sincere. Chrissy's story suggests that audiences can handle complexity when they feel they are being treated with respect. People may not always need every detail, but they often respond well when a public figure speaks plainly and allows room for grace. Barbie Ferreira's story may be the most understated, but that is what makes it so interesting. For several years, Barbie became a figure in conversations about size inclusion for a younger generation. Through her role on Euphoria and through her public presence in fashion, she seemed to represent a broader vision of beauty, one that made room for bodies that had often been overlooked. Many people admired her because she appeared unwilling to reshape herself just to satisfy traditional expectations. Then, over time, her appearance changed. When she later appeared at a Victoria's Secret fashion event looking noticeably slimmer, people took notice immediately. Because she had once seemed so closely linked to public discussions of body acceptance, many expected an explanation. Instead, when asked about the change, she answered casually and briefly, offering little beyond that. In doing so, she left the public without the kind of narrative many had come to expect from celebrities navigating visible transformation. For some observers, that lack of explanation became the story itself. Barbie did not frame her change as a contradiction, and she did not present it as a lesson. She simply moved forward. That choice frustrated some people and fascinated others. In a time when public figures are often expected to turn every personal change into a statement, Barbie's silence felt almost radical. Her story reminds us that privacy can also shape public perception. It forces audiences to sit with uncertainty rather than receiving a conclusion. In that sense, her story closes this larger discussion in a revealing way. Sometimes the strongest reaction does not come from what a celebrity says. It comes from the meaning people attach to what remains unsaid. Taken together, these stories are not just about appearance. They are about honesty, influence, and the responsibility that comes with being admired by millions. Most people are not asking for perfection. They are asking for clarity and sincerity. But what do you think? Do these changes reflect personal growth, public pressure, or something more complicated? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy thoughtful conversations like this, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and stay with us for the next story.